Hello, I'm Dr. Kelly Van Sand, and I'd like to welcome you here today to our open house as we go through some information regarding the FIRE Academy, our program that is specifically designed for students with autism and other developmental delays. FIRE stands for Fueling Independence and Reaching Excellence, which we know all of these children are absolutely capable of, and we love working alongside our students and our families to make sure that they're reaching their highest potential and learning something new each and every day. My name is Dr. Kelly Van Sand, and I am the founder and head of school for Ignite Learning Academy. We're an online school. That's by design, not in response to COVID. We'll always be online, and that means everything we do is intentionally designed for an online setting. The curriculum that we select, both for our general education programs and for the FIRE Academy program, is specifically chosen because it was designed for an online setting. Our curriculum for our FIRE Academy program is designed by STARS Autism, and they have a specific separate curriculum that is designed for an online setting. It even existed before COVID was a thing, and so it's been around for many years, and it is fully designed to be delivered when students are in a location with a caregiver or a parent, someone else at home, and the teacher is in an entirely different location. The same is true for our gen ed curriculum as well, and for our students with autism and developmental delays who are working in a curriculum that's about above a second or third grade level. They'll be in our Pearson curriculum, and that too was developed to be delivered in an online setting. We're a private school as well, and we serve students in grades preschool through grade 12. And yes, we get this question a lot. We do, in fact, have an in-person graduation. And that location will change really depending on where our graduates are living that year. We'll look and see where our graduates are all from, and we'll find an area and location that's really most convenient to that year's graduating class. At the heart of everything we do here at Ignite, we believe in individualized learning for every child. That doesn't mean every child with a disability, every child without a disability. It truly is every child. Every single child that comes to Ignite has an individualized learning plan. That means they all have classes that are aligned to their current academic ability, their interests. They go at a pace that's appropriate to their learning level. The teachers support them at a level and individualize everything that they do. Everything is individualized. There's also flexibility in scheduling here. Of course, our live classes are set at a time so the other students can join as well. In our FIRE Academy, those are very small class sizes. But outside of that, you really have full control of what that schedule looks like. You can schedule around therapies, appointments, sports, activities, rest, relaxation, whatever it is that you really desire your day to look like, you absolutely have the flexibility to schedule around that. We know routine is really important. So we will set the schedule here. You can count on us to make sure that the routine is absolutely the same each and every day during your live classes here. And then you can build that consistent routine in the home so that your child can know exactly what is to come during live class. And then also in your home each and every day, so that routine is always consistent and predictable for them to thrive. We believe that every child deserves to learn something new and to feel successful every single day. And that will be our model for your child as well. That is what we seek to establish in our classrooms on a daily basis, is we want them to feel successful. We want them to learn as well. Of course, we're a school, we're here to teach. We want to see them meet their goals, and we're going to progress monitor, and we're going to make sure that we're setting challenging yet attainable goals. But at the end of the day, we want your child to have a smile on their face and to know that they accomplished something and that they were successful, so that they can find joy in their learning and be excited to share with you what they learned. Our school is fully accredited by WASC, which is one of 6 regional accrediting agencies here in the United States and abroad. That means that our credits and grade level designations transfer to other schools and are really recognized by colleges and universities. So you certainly want to look for a school that is accredited when you are choosing a school for your child. Also, if you have an aspiring athlete on your hands, our high school courses are also approved by NCAA. So if you have a child who does seek to play Division I or II sports when they enter college or university, those credits earned here in high school would count toward their eligibility if they are also found eligible on the athletic side as well. Our staff here is just as unique as our students. All of our teachers are certified. Many of them have doctoral degrees and master's degrees, so they're really experts in the areas that they're teaching. They have online teaching experience, extensive online teaching experience as well. They all believe in individualized education. And that is a really unique trait because individualized education takes a lot more time and effort on behalf of a teacher. They have to do it, plan for every single child. They have to find and gather resources. And our teachers love that. They thrive on that. We, by design, keep their class sizes very small so they have the bandwidth to devote to your child to make sure that they get exactly what they need. And when I'm hiring and pulling in our leadership team to also assist with hiring, we're looking for the teacher that gets equally excited about individualizing and working with parents and students and seeing them thrive as much as I am. And when we find that person, we bring them onto our staff because we know they're going to fit in and they're going to work so hard for our students. And that's the person that we want here at Ignite working on our team. Your role here is a little bit different than what you might imagine. Maybe it's right on track if you've maybe been at home and working with an online school previously. We often refer to probably the person here today as the learning coach. It's often mom or dad. It could be an aunt or uncle. It might be a nanny or a tutor or someone that you've brought into the home. But really, it's just the adult who is in the home that's really taking on that responsibility of making sure your child is attending school. So it's that person that's helping to ensure that they're logging into their live classes, that's checking grades. Now, in the case of our FIRE program, the role of the learning coach is much more elevated than it is for our students who are in a general education program. And really, this boils down to the ability of your child to work independently. For some of you, that means you're sitting right next to your child the entire time that they're working. So for you, that time commitment might be a few hours each day. For others of you, you might be able to walk away, come check on your child when they're in live class, walk away again. And ultimately, that's what we're working toward because we want your child to become an independent worker. But reality is that might not be where your child's at right now. So I'm going to give a very broad time commitment and say 1 to 4 hours a day. Probably more like 1 to 3. 4 hours is pushing it on the time commitment there because probably more of your students are not schooling that much. That might be a more higher functioning child that's at a higher grade level. And in that case, they probably actually don't need as much support. But I would say that's the very max that any parent would be spending or a learning coach should be spending assisting. Most of you are probably in the 1 to 2.5 hour range. With some of our older students, potentially older students at maybe a lower functioning level, maybe needing a few hours. That being said, it really boils down to your child. If you have a child who's nonverbal, plan on a few hours a day. A child who really needs you right next to them, a few hours a day. A child who's older and can really interact on their own, maybe an hour a day, maybe even less. But it's really going to depend on their ability to be in a live class with a couple of peers, their teacher here, and can they participate in what's being done? Knowing that teacher is extraordinarily experienced in working with a child like yours and engaging them and getting them to communicate. But your role is never to be the teacher. We don't expect that of you. That's why you come to us, so that you have a teacher, you have curriculum. Your child's teacher is teaching them. Your role might be to work with them at home on tracing letters, or working on solving some addition problems, or working on how we're going to get dressed, because maybe we're working on a life skill today of putting on our pants before we put on our socks and then our shoes. And you might have a paper, somewhat like this one, that we would provide that would actually guide them through the steps. And perhaps they might try to cut it out, and that might be working on some fine motor skills, and they're going to try and order them. And that might be what your child's working on. And then maybe later on, your child actually physically trying to do it by themselves in order. Everything that we're going to be doing is individualized for the level your child's at. If your child is way past that, excellent. That's not a task that's going to be assigned to your child. Your child might be over here and not need to work on any life skills at that level at all. And that's absolutely fine. So please don't worry that your child's going to be asked to do something that is absolutely not at their level, either too difficult or too easy. Everything will be individualized, and we will begin to decide what is appropriate in conversations with you and in observing your child. So that will all be at an individualized level so that we can figure out what skills are appropriate for your child's age and their current ability level, and what goals do you have, and we'll consider all of that in setting goals for your child. So you're not the teacher. We don't expect you to teach. You're there to assist and to help ensure that your child is there in class. You might be, helping to confirm if the teacher might ask, the child to point to the car on the screen of 3 different icons that might show, a train, a car, and an airplane if we're working on identification, or, to solve a problem of some kind and we're working on, whatever it might be. And perhaps your child is nonverbal, or perhaps your child is really needing that intensive support here, and they point to the screen. The teacher can't see what they point to, so you might do a little head nod so the teacher knows if they got it correct or not. And again, if your child is able to work more independently, you don't need to be sitting there. So I'm giving more examples of the parent that might need to be there more, more in the moment there. And that would be a class with students who are working at a similar ability level. And again, those are very small group classes. If your child's at a higher level, still very small group classes, but of course you wouldn't need to be there and present throughout that whole lesson. This is a quote from one of our parents. They have 2 children enrolled with us, and this quote just makes my heart sing a little bit each time I read it, because it really is what we set out to do as a school. So knowing that it has come across to our families is very rewarding as an educator, knowing that what we set out to do is what we're actually doing. And he said, "There's only kindness, enthusiasm, and support from the faculty, and the online community they create with the children is heartwarming to experience. As a former first grade classroom teacher, I can attest that the curriculum is user-friendly for all participants, and every week I experience both of my children grow and enjoy learning." So like we said, we do have multiple programs. Here you can just see the breakdown of what grade levels are, housed within elementary, middle, or high school. Fire incorporates all of kindergarten through 12th grade, but a middle schooler in Fire is still going to be invited to attend, any clubs that are for middle school specific students. Many of our clubs span multiple grade ranges, but if it's an elementary, maybe we want to come to Lego Club, they're absolutely invited. So even if they're in the Fire program, they are not simply in the Fire program. They are absolutely a part of the general school community. They can participate in all of the clubs. We'll talk about those later on, but they are never excluded from anything. They are a part of our school community. They come to field trips, assemblies, clubs, everything that they want to participate in. This is just simply the way that they come to live class. Some of them will even go to general education classes as well. So I want you to be able to see this breakdown, knowing elementary is grades K through 5, middle school 6 through 8, and high school grades 9 through 12. The courses and curriculum that your children will be taking are math, language arts, social studies, and science. And if your child is working at about a 3rd grade level or below, they will likely be working in our autism curriculum, which is also students that don't have autism but have developmental delays. It is specifically made for students that fall into a developmental delay and need some of that extra support. And the curriculum is engaging. It is predictable. They know exactly what's going to happen next each and every day. It is built to really scaffold in a way that they will understand and more slowly build upon the skills so that they can truly get all of those core skills and understand them before they begin expanding and building upon themselves. And they're fun. So we are going to break the FIRE program into really two levels. Level 1 is really for our youngest students, so about our K through 2 students, and our older students who are working at a cognitive level that's about the kinder through 3rd grade level. So that is our level 1 group. Our level 2 group is our students when they get to about 3rd grade or are working at about that level cognitively or above. So we have these two different levels. They'll always take those 4 content areas, but once they're at the 3rd grade or above level, they'll transition more so into our general education curriculum. So it's just simply a transition. When that happens, they will still be a part of the FIRE curriculum or FIRE Academy program, but they might be taking a 3rd grade math class, and that could be coupled with a 4th grade language arts class. They can span multiple grade levels simultaneously. So it doesn't mean that if they all of a sudden switch curriculums that they're just going to be left to flounder. Not at all. It's just going to allow them to continue to progress academically into some higher level skills so that they never reach a cap on their learning. So they can continue to learn something new each and every day. Within the STAR curriculum, it is an ABA-based curriculum. All of the curriculum we use is research-based. And within our level 1 classes, that STAR curriculum is all meant to have curriculum delivered live. So in the level 1 curriculum, for those younger students and those working at a lower cognitive level, all of their instruction is delivered live, and they will not have online courses that they would log into and work on otherwise. So they'll come to class, they'll get math instruction, language arts instruction. If it's a science day, they'll do science, whatever it might be, but they're going to get that live. For our level 2 students, they'll still get live instruction in math and in science and language arts. They can attend general education classes with their teacher, and they can attend FIRE classes for additional support, but they will have online courses. So they would have a math class they can log into. That too will have lessons that teach the content, reinforce the content, have videos and games to reinforce learning. So they are going to start to have content delivered in multiple ways. So whichever way is working best, they will be able to approach it. So they just get even additional supports. So if you're like, this is too much, then you pick the way that works best. You don't have to go to all of the live classes at that point. That point, we're saying we're giving you all of these options. Then we'll pick and see which way works best for your child. We don't want to overwhelm them or overtax them, but we want to give you options. So we want to move to the least restrictive environment, but we're not just going to exit you. So we want to still give you that full support of FIRE. Also in the FIRE program, for all students, they are all going to work in the STAR curriculum, no matter their level 1 or 2, for social skills and life skills curriculum. Now within that, there's live curriculum where they're getting that live with their teacher in live class. Again, doesn't matter what level of the FIRE program they're in, they'll be getting that live from their teacher, and it's live interactive curriculum. And this could be something, I'm just going to pull up an example here of sentence strips where they might be going through an example of how do I start a conversation? And this might be a resource that's printed and they might have it at home. Or they might look at sentence starters, and it might just be a pictorial representation of games and sports and food and other topics. And you can add in your own that might be of interest to that child of topics. Life skills, that would be very different for a 7-year-old versus a 17-year-old. So those are also going to look very different and be tailor fit to your child based on their age, their ability, and their interests. Are we getting ready to get our first job? Are we going to need to know how to do an interview? Maybe write our very first resume? Are we going to need to know how to do a job skill that's aligned to the very first job that they might be getting? Those will be things that we'll work on. Versus, are we going to learn to tie our shoes this year? And we're going to set a goal about that. These will all be tailor fit to your child. They're going to practice conversing. That's going to be outside of a lot of their comfort levels at first. So first, we're going to have to learn how to have a conversation. What does our body language look like? Well, we're going to learn that. How do we open a conversation? How do we dialogue? Do we look like this? Do we look like this? Do we have our arms at our side? How do we do that? This is all something that's going to be intentionally taught to them through the social skills curriculum and of course the life skills through the life skills curriculum. And we have lots of resources through the STARS curriculum that will be provided to you. You'll be able to actually access things, download things on your own. Teachers can provide it to you. We will send some things to you in the mail where it might be a physical, laminated object. Here's, something that you might have if, we're working on identifying, maybe some prepositions. This one's ladybug prepositions. It's something that, this one's actually one that we designed. And this one is where there is a back flap that folds out. Let me just show you real quick. I feel like I need another hand. And on this back flap, there's a bunch of Velcro pieces. This one says between, and it has a picture of a ladybug between two boxes. And over here, we would see the page. And this one says, the ladybug is, and it has the preposition, the box. So what will we say? The ladybug is, and we would need to find the word. The ladybug is in the box. So they're going to find the word in, and they might find the one that has the ladybug that has the actual pictorial version of it. Let me show you that one. If I can find it real quick. Here we have one, the ladybug is inside the box. Or they might move on to a word only. The ladybug is in the box. And once they find these, they can just go ahead and Velcro. So we might send you things like this if that's a skill that they're working on. Other things you might just download and print. But everything, again, will be individualized to what your child needs. As they get older as well, they can take elective classes too. So if they want to take a drawing class, or if they want to take a PE class, and yeah, they can do that online too. If they want to take, we have hundreds of electives. If they want to take a cosmetology class, they can do that. And of course, we're going to put accommodations in place to make sure that they're set up to thrive in that class. So accommodations will absolutely be put in place. 52% of our students here have special learning needs, where they have a 504 plan, an IEP before they come to us. Our data when they come, we're like, we are off grade level. Something is happening here. So we have really become, and we set out to be experts in individualization. We really are the experts in individualized learning because that is the population of students that we have. And our data shows us that we're doing exceptionally well at this. In one semester in this school year, we're in the 2021 school year right now, in the fall semester, our average student growth in one semester was 1 year, 4 months of progress. So in a normal school year, in a perfect world, a student grows 1 year. In third grade, they master third grade. They grow a year. In one semester, that third grader did all of third grade in 4 months of fourth grade. So, or maybe they were behind and they caught up and they did 4 extra months. That's the reality of what we're living in. And that was the average. Many of our students did more. Most of our students did right on that year. I mean, it was incredible. We had a big celebration here because it was really exciting to see. So our students are thriving in this model and they are catching up, closing gaps, and they're learning something new every day. And when they're doing that, they are celebrating that success, and we love sending them little things in the mail, whether it's a little, a silly little award, or it's, a gift certificate for a free kids meal somewhere that's in your local neighborhood, or it's even a little bookmark or just a handwritten note. We love to recognize their hard work and the success that they're having. It's just special to receive that, and we know they're going to, work harder that next time when they encounter something challenging because they know we see the hard work they're putting in. So you'll often see that coming your way. In a nutshell, we've kind of talked about this already, but our students that have special needs, and really even if they don't have identified special needs, I know we're talking about kids that do, we really do this for anyone, but we start with appropriately leveled curriculum. And in this case, it's even specific to students that have developmental delays. So we're not even trying to take a curriculum that even starts at a kindergarten level and that's made for a student who's at that level. We're starting, at a level that's below that and saying we will meet them where they're at with this curriculum that is designed specifically for their learning target, their learning needs, and we're going to start there. And we're going to throw in life skills and social skills as well. We will then, of course, add classroom and curriculum accommodation. So classroom meaning like the live classroom format. For instance, we have many students that have anxiety, and of course, in this such a small setting, the teacher's going to know that. In a large class for us might be like 8 third graders in a gen ed classroom, but the teacher knows them anyways. But it might be that, little John Smith has anxiety, and the only way he's coming to class is if he knows he's not going to be cold called on to answer a question. And so the secret little, message to his teacher might be that he might private chat his teacher and say, okay, if he's feeling okay, he can be called on to answer the question. Might be something as simple as that, or really whatever that child needs. We might need to have prompts, or we might need to have, whatever it is, we've got that covered. We'll work with you and your family to make sure your child is supported in live classes, in the coursework, whether that is in what they're working on in a physical workbook, in life skills, in work with pages, in having the tools they need to hold a writing device, whether that's a crayon at this point, a big fat marker, a pencil at some point, whatever that might be. We're going to work on those accommodations, and then as they transition into more of that a little bit higher level curriculum, a lot of accommodations there as well. And what's great about that is there's also accommodations built right in. Like, it will read aloud everything on the page all the way up through AP Calculus. It does not matter the grade level. So they're not going to all of a sudden lose accommodations like that if they hit 5th grade. It will always read aloud the curriculum content. So that's an accommodation available universally to every single student in every single course. And other accommodations, like time limits, we actually don't use them for any child. And other ones we can do reduced assignments. Any accommodation that we need, we'll implement for your child. And then, of course, special education teacher support. We've got the fire classes, extremely small group, working one-on-one with the fire teacher. Doesn't matter if you're level 1 or level 2 fire, that is all in place for you. Setting those goals, having what essentially amounts to an IEP meeting, only they're really goal-setting meetings, so that we might need to revise that goal every 6 weeks. Or this one's going to be a 9-month goal, or this one's going to be, X number, whatever it might be. We're going to, meet as often as needed to make sure that your child's on track and thriving. So here's a little bit of information about a day in the life. This one's a level 1 student. So these are our little guys, and these are our older students who are working at a lower cognitive level. So they will not be in the same class. They're grouped by age and by ability. So you'll not have a kindergartner and 11th grader maybe working at a 1st grade level in the same class. They will absolutely be separated and working with their peers by age. But a Fire 1, level 1 student, maybe they're up for the morning at, let's say, 7:30. Maybe your child's not an early morning riser, so this is absolutely, this is not a set in stone schedule. I just put it together. They might have live class at about 9 a.m., a break at 10:15. Maybe we're outside jumping on the trampoline. That's where my daughter would be. They might come back and have some live class at 10:30, lunch at 11:30. They might work on some written work at 12:15. And that doesn't mean they're working on written homework until 1:30 when cooking clubs. It might be like 5 to 10 minutes at the most. So don't think that these gaps are going all the way until when the next session starts or when the next time block begins. And maybe at 1:30 they're attending cooking club because they want to cook, and we're going to make whatever it might be that day. Cooking club is a hit around here. So that might be their day. Perhaps you've got OT or speech or whatever it might be that's in, at one of these time slots, mix and match. So that schedule is yours. Level 2 student might start the same way, have a live class. Maybe they're in 6th grade and maybe they're going to a general education class at 9 a.m. Maybe taking a break as well. And then maybe they have a fire class later on that day, and maybe we're doing social skills that day, or maybe some additional math help, whatever it might be that day. Lunch. Then they might be doing some online schoolwork where they're actually logging into a class and doing a little bit more work, or we're doing some offline work, but maybe doing a little bit more schoolwork. Remember, they're in those classes now. We've got online as well, and maybe they're ending with some cooking club as well. So you can still move all this around. I didn't go later into the day, and you might want to spread all of this out so that there are huge breaks between it, because that might be what works for your child, or maybe you're working around several different things. Completely doable. This was just the schedule I put together, but that does not at all have to be what your schedule looks like. In our STAR curriculum, there is a very predictable daily schedule. It always goes like this. They start with a greeting. That greeting is predictable. It will include, what we start with is circle time, and that includes like weather, different circle time activities. All of our level 1 students receive a circle time kit from us. It looks like this. We have some pictures later on, I believe, but it's got things like weather cards. So they'll actually do weather. Like, what is the weather like where you're today? Well, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. So this is pretty much always my card. It's always sunny here. So, you know, there's sunny, foggy, snowing, raining, you know, windy. Other places might have some more unique weather. So they can figure out, what is it like in my area? Well, maybe it's snowing, and they would all hold it up and they can see and discuss what the weather's like where they're at. They might be doing colors that day. So they might be using their color cards, or maybe they're just discussing, you know, one color that day. So they have color cards. They might be doing social emotional at some point. They don't necessarily use all of these cards each day. They have some different cards here to describe their emotions. There's happy, sad, angry, scared, excited. And, you know, if they see an excited card, you know, what are you excited about? It's my birthday this weekend. You know, they'll have a conversation about that. Or, you know, why are you sad? So these are, you know, a great social emotional learning tool that they'll use. We have days of the week. Yesterday was Tuesday. What day is today? They'll find their Wednesday card, and they'll often do silly things like hold it on your forehead. That's a common one that we'll see, and the kids think that's fun, especially our young little ones. We have our letter cards, which are stuck with my shape cards. So they've got all their letters. So they might be working on the letter J that day. Here we have our jellyfish. So they've got all of their letter cards. These all can be opened up as well on their binder clips. And so if you're ever laying them out, and you can, you know, find the blue card. So they can be used in a number of different ways. We've also got our shape cards and then our number cards, which we begin with 1 to 20. So those are all provided, and those all go in the little pouch that we send for their circle time kit as well. During the greeting, there's a greeting song that changes per unit, so it aligns. So if they're doing, you know, a unit on growth, flowers, you know, or on seasons, the greeting song is going to be something along with that. Then they move into their academic activity, which might begin with math, move into maybe some vocabulary. So it's going to be, again, aligned to their ability level. Then they move into some social communication. That's also where you're going to find some life skills, again, depending on your age. And then they work on their departure. So they begin to wrap up for the day, and then they review their homework. Homework is not extensive. This is where they're going to practice something that they worked on that day. So they might have some small worksheet they're working on, something that's provided to you in advance. You'll receive workbooks from us. It's something they probably need some assistance with you from, again, depending on their ability here. And it's something that you would turn in some of these to the teacher. Not everything will be turned into the teacher, and some of them she'll just say, you know, hold it up, show me the next day, and, you know, just to really get a grasp on how your child is doing. But it might be as simple as we're tracing letters today. It might be we're doing basic addition, depending on what we did in math. It could be that we're doing a science experiment, and actually that will be done in class. Like we might be using invisible ink, and we might be testing out lemon juice versus milk versus water and seeing what works when we apply a heat source, which could be a, you know, a hair dryer, and it's very interactive and hands-on. So that schedule is going to be very predictable, and that they're going to know the order of events that will happen each and every day. So our elementary curriculum, you can see here, you know, they will work on letter recognition. They're going to then progress to, you know, letter sounds and phonics, and progress into reading. If your child already knows letter sounds, then we're going to progress into reading next. We're going to work on, you know, writing letters. Then we're going to work on writing words, and then we're going to work on writing sentences. At some point, we might just be working on composing sentences with strips, you know, on using Velcro. And composing sentences. So we're going to be doing everything in a step-by-step, you know, format that makes sense according to your child's ability. They also are all invited, and you know, this should actually not just say elementary. This is for, I apologize, I reused a slide from a different presentation, and I did not cross that out, even though I edited the rest of it. So I apologize. This is all of our curriculum. They also have the ability to attend live art classes. So like, it's like going to specials during the week. They can come to art. And so, you know, we might be painting something, and you'll see in the newsletter, like, what are we making that week? You'll have a week's notice to now I need paint this week and a piece of paper, or I need an old tin can and something else for this week's project. So they can come to art specials, and that is not specific to the fire program. So they're with general peers as well. So it's a great time for socialization and practicing some of those skills too. They can take a technology class if they'd like. They can come to technology clubs. So this is all a part of our curriculum. Materials, like we mentioned, they'll have that circle time kit. They might be receiving some early reader books. If you think like, Hop on Pop, not necessarily the Dr. Seuss version, but, and then, Hop on whatever it might be, where it's a very repetitive book. We might be sending them some easy reader books that are appropriate for their current level of reading. They might be receiving some supply kits. Again, that might be something that includes something like Ladybug prepositions right now, or that might be a science kit that goes along with their 4th grade science curriculum. So the materials they'll receive really just varies based on what curriculum they're in, what they're working on right now. And those materials might be sent at different times throughout the year as they begin working on different things as well. Same thing with manipulatives. They might receive, Unifix cubes where they're counting, stacking, making math sentences. Maybe they're even working on some fine motor skills of actually stacking. Those can be used for a lot of different things. They might be receiving fake money. They might be working on, just different, they might have a little clock when they're working on telling time. So again, the manipulatives, just like the other activities, really just vary based on what they're working on. And those, again, could be sent at any point throughout the year. If all of a sudden they master one skill, we're moving on to the next. So we'll go ahead and send that next one. Here's a close-up of some of the circle time that you would see for your younger students and our level 1 students. And a little bit better picture since it's laminated. It's catching on the light in here, although it's hard to take a picture of as well, of just that Ladybug preposition book as one example. Some additional examples, these are all printables right from within the STAR curriculum as well for some life and social skills where you can cut out, for this one, getting dressed, practicing putting this sentence strip in order. This one is, how do we greet a friend? We first, greet them, we ask them a question, then we would answer the question, then we end the conversation. How do we do that? There are also things like behavior support cards that are provided. These are just a sample of them. Perhaps your child will benefit for something like this, where they might be pointing to a card to be able to communicate, or even holding it up for their teacher. If that's something maybe they're not comfortable speaking to their teacher yet, they might talk just fine to you, but maybe that's not something that we're comfortable with right at the beginning of the year quite yet. So maybe they're holding up something like that or pointing to it, perhaps using those cards. So we have lots of resources like that. Thousands and thousands of them are available with the curriculum, plus we're able to provide others as well. So if there's a need, we will make sure that we fill it. So we've got 3 unique programs all in our school. We've got our special education programs as well. We also have just general pull-out and resource types of programs as well that aren't a part of the Fire Academy, but students that have more mild learning disabilities. We've of course got our general education program. We do have a full gifted education program, and we do have many students who are twice exceptional. So if you do have a student that would fall into both of those categories as potentially being a fire student or a special education student and falling into gifted, I'd be happy to share information with you about that program as well. Simply reach out to me and I would be absolutely thrilled to discuss, what is that program? What's it look like? There's a lot of project-based learning in that program. Absolutely, we can accommodate students with special needs as well. So they would be welcome with open arms in that program as well. Really, it boils down to the key to success here is personalized education for every child, because every child deserves the best. And I hope you've heard that loud and clear throughout this whole presentation today, because I truly, truly do believe that. So now a little bit on our clubs. Our clubs are a hit, and I think it's what really makes our school special and unique. I have been working in online education for almost 15 years now. I was a superintendent of huge online charter schools, about 10,000 kids. When I left, I've done, prior to that, I was a high school principal. I've been a teacher at the elementary, middle, and high school level, in school districts, charter schools, in person, online. I've kind of done it all. And clubs and socialization and building a sense of community is truly what I believe to be the backbone of a successful school. Students need to feel plugged in, to have relationships with other students, to feel like their teachers care about them, to have friends at school, whether their friend lives a mile down the road, lives across the country, it doesn't really matter. They just need to feel connected. And our clubs are aimed to do exactly that while allowing students to explore things that they love, find new things to love, and build those relationships. So what you see here on your screen is a very small sampling of our clubs. We have many more here that are not listed, like Lego Club is going to be, we're actually launching that one this next year for 21-22 due to lots of student requests. So Lego Club, I already know is going to be a hit. Minecraft Club is an absolute hit. It's our most well-attended club. Students actually can play on a private server with other Ignite students, and it's moderated by our club lead, who's a faculty member here, and a few student leaders as well. Cooking Club is our second most attended club. They make something new each week, and it's great for kids of all ages and abilities. We have our youngest students attend, and they have their parent there right there with it. We occasionally even get a parent that's like, I don't know where my kid went, but this recipe sounds good, so I'm coming to Cooking Club without them. So even the parents are welcome to join. And sometimes we're making sweets, and sometimes we're making an actual, full course. We even have special guests come in. One of our favorite special guests, he actually owns a local grilling company. So they'll be outside grilling or grilling on the stovetop, whichever you prefer. But we've got art classes, painting, drawing. We've got a leading ladies club with lots of guest speakers about just, finding your voice and, women entrepreneurs and things like that. We've got our science club with lots of really fun science experiments. Music club, they do everything from, like making their own instruments to, learning about music. Our yearbook club actually puts together a physical yearbook. So we actually have an actual yearbook that ships out to students, and it is packed filled with pictures of actual events when kids are getting together and them learning, and club pictures. So we have clubs that take place every single day. Kids could attend multiple clubs each and every day. They could go to yoga club and music club and, on Monday, and, have something to do every day. So we encourage students to attend as many clubs as they'd like and as frequently as they'd like to attend. Clubs do not cost additional money. We want them to come as frequently as they'd like. They don't have to sign up in advance for clubs, so they could try Cooking Club this week, and if they want to try a different club, tomorrow or next week, they can certainly do it. So they don't have to, sign up and then they're committed for a whole semester, a year. They can just try what they want when they want. And same thing, if you're working around a busy schedule, you don't have to feel bad if you can only come to Cooking Club once every 4 weeks. It's completely fine. So come when you'd like, and don't come if you're not able, or if you decide you don't love that club and you want to try something new, that's completely fine as well. We also do go on field trips. Arizona, we've got a ton of students here in Arizona, very much our most populous state. But that being said, about half of our students are in Arizona, and the other half of our students are spread out all across the United States and even Canada, primarily British Columbia and Canada. So that being said, we do have pockets of students all over the place. So in Arizona, we have a lot of field trips. Other places, we look for where we have students living really in a similar geographic location. And there are a lot of locations from coast to coast, north, south, east to west, where we have students living. And we just look to see, really within even a few hours of each other, where do we have kids living? And if we have students within there, we will work to connect those families. We'll say, hey, do you want to be connected to this family that lives here? And, if you're 3 hours away, maybe you want to meet in the middle. And really all of our families, we've never had someone turn that down and say, no, don't connect me. They really always want to be connected and to, meet up with them. Of course, this year it's been challenging because of COVID, but we've had lots of, families that have gotten together at parks. Our field trips this year have all been outside. So even in Arizona, we haven't done nearly as many as we had wanted because it's so hot a good chunk of the year, but we did do some field trips outdoors. Even in October at the end, when we did outdoor farm field trips, we just sweat a lot because it was still really hot, but we had a blast. We've done different park days. We have big plans for next year, COVID willing, that we will be able to get indoors, hopefully, and safely have some additional field trips. But we will be getting together. So if you don't live in Arizona, do not count field trips out. We also will be planning additional field trips where we'll kind of call them like anchor field trips, where they would be a field trip worth traveling for if you have the desire and the means. So, perhaps we might do a Washington, D.C. field trip, or, we might do Yosemite or something, picking different locations around the U.S. each year, maybe doing one or two. So if you happen to live on the East Coast or, more Midwest, you're like, I would go to Washington, D.C. Sure, we'll make a weekend of it. And, if you're wanting to travel, to that location, knowing not all families can, we understand that. But if you were wanting to, it might be a great time to meet families that are from, different surrounding states as well. So we love to get out and meet families. But even beyond that, we know families can meet through, through the clubs. We have social hour. We do school assemblies where all the kids come. We do ILA Pals, which is a pen pal program where we connect students from all across the country that are our students that sign up for that program so they can write back and forth and do snail mail with one another. So it's really a great time for them to get to know each other. We also have a lot of fun with school spirit. So we are the Bulldogs. I actually have Mr. Bruno right back here. So this is Bruno, and he is our mascot. And these little plush animals are highly coveted among our students. So you'll often receive him maybe as a prize at a class party, which we do. We'll have fall class parties and winter class parties and random class parties and celebrations and random prizes because you know what? You just work so hard. So you know what? You might get a random Bruno in the mail, but he is very sought after. He even barks. As a parent, I know you'll be really thrilled when you have a barking Bruno in your house. I actually didn't know he barked when I ordered these, so that was a pleasant surprise because I have 2 children that discovered that. So Bruno barks, but he is very coveted here. So Bruno is our bulldog. Our colors are navy and gold. We have school shirts. We do spirit weeks. Check out our Facebook page. You'll see Spirit Week. Our last one was in January, last week in January, I believe. And if you go back and look, you will find a whole lot of school spirit that week. And we do that, again, just to build that sense of community. It's really just a fun time where you realize, I'm not just talking to a box. I am a part of a school, and there are kids all over the country and Canada, and we are all part of the same school. And that's a really fun thing. And, we have fun moments where, someone in Arizona will say, like, it's so hot, and someone else in Buffalo, New York will post a picture and it's snowing. And just some, fun moments like that, where it's just a unique perspective where we're all part of the same community, yet our experiences are vastly different. And we truly promise to you that your child will find a sense of belonging at ILA. That is my promise to you. And if you feel like your child's not, I want you to come tell me, because that means we're doing something wrong and I will fix it. Because that is why I made this school. Every child needs to feel like they belong somewhere. And if they haven't felt that before, I want them to feel that here. If they have felt that before, that's great. We'll continue that here. But we have created a program in order to create a sense of belonging for every single child. And you will find that with our staff, with our other families, and with the other students. I have never been a part of such an incredible school community, from the staff to the parents to the students. It is an incredible place to be. For our parents, we offer some private parent Facebook groups for those that are a part of Facebook. These are completely locked down parent groups, which are private on Facebook. So that means that nobody can see who is a part of the group or can see who posts in the group or see what you write unless you're also a member of the group. And we only approve people to join the group if they are a parent of a child actively enrolled in our school. So if they withdraw, we remove them from the group. If they're enrolling for next year, they're not allowed in the group yet. So it's only parents of currently enrolled students. So we do that really just for the safety and protection of everybody, to make sure we don't have any random people in those groups. And it's a great place just to ask questions, also to help facilitate meetups. We have a general ILA parent group, so it's for all parents of Ignite students. We have some geographic-based groups. So for instance, we have an Arizona one and some others. And then we have some groups that are unique to different programs. Like we have a fire Fire parent Facebook group. We have a Spark, which is our gifted program parent Facebook group. So we have some there. So all of the fire parents could get together. And those are also frequented by our staff as well. So if you have a question that's just a general one, you can ask it there too. If you're just like, looking for some information on, my child has, anxiety about doing X, Y, and Z. Anyone have, gone through this before? Have any suggestions? It's a great place just to ask, for things like that, or to share a success. We can all celebrate that with you. And we'll post, some school announcements and things in there as well, especially if it contains a link. We would never post, a link to a class or anything like that on an externally facing, page, like our main Facebook page. But we also, of course, post everything in our school newsletters and class announcements. So if you're not a part of the Facebook group, you will never miss a link. It's just another place where we post some information and deliver that to you. So enrollment is open. Right now we have immediate start dates available, but not for our fire program. It's actually beginning enrollment for that for the upcoming school year. So we only have enrollment in our general education program for the remainder of the 2021 school year. If you're looking for the fire program, we are accepting enrollments for the upcoming year for 2021-22. Preschool through grade 12 is open otherwise. We do, though, have a lot of summer learning opportunities, and I'll show you that here in just a moment because those are some really exciting, fun things we have going on. We do have traditional summer school courses, which if you're listening to this webinar or watching this after the fact, if you're here today, this is probably not the one for you. Summer Smarts could potentially be one of interest. This is, oops, I apologize, let me go right back. The Summer Smarts program is for grades K through 8 in content knowledge. So this one would likely be appropriate for most of your children, unless they're working at a content level above 8th grade. And there's a math program and a reading program. And this is more of a game-based program. So it's fun and engaging. They might be solving addition problems to build the rocket ship that they're gonna blast off into space and avoid the asteroids and do whatever they might be doing. So it's a fun program. And what happens at the very beginning is they take an assessment, either math for the math program or reading for reading, and it will then tailor the entire academic program based on their abilities currently. So it's going to work on filling some gaps and tailoring that program to just help them start to close those gaps and make some forward progress. So if they are working at a first grade level and have some second grade skills and have some gaps in kindergarten, it's going to immediately know that, and it's going to tailor fit that whole program to really address those areas. So that is our Summer Smarts program, and it lasts for 9 weeks. They do work with certified teachers. It is not a part of our fire program, and it does not look like that at all. So I want to make sure that expectation is clear. It's really a more so do on your own program, but there is one live class a week. But it's mostly just kind of go at your own pace. You kind of get out of it what you put into it, but it's more of a game-based program. The other option is just for pure fun, and that is our summer camp program. And we have, I think, about 15 different camps that are taking place this summer. And there is story time and craft camp for our littlest campers, preschoolers, all the way up to our oldest campers, that are seniors in high school this upcoming year. And we have cooking camp, science camp, Hawaiian Hullabaloo, which is a Hawaiian theme, but it's science and cooking and games and crafts. We've got a DIY, which is kind of like a Pinterest camp, all of those favorite like preteen and teen projects. We've got different art camps, everything from arts and crafts to a drawing camp and a painting camp. We've got a wizards and magic camp, which is like a Harry Potter camp, coding camps. So there are tons of those. Those only cost $75, and they cover all of the kids in the same household. And they last about 2 hours each day for the week in which they're running. And if you're interested in learning more about what any of these programs entail or signing up for them, ignitelearningacademy.com/summer will take you right there so that you can learn more about them and register to attend. Switching gears again back to the Fire Academy program. Tuition for that program is $7,500 for the full school year. And that includes all of their courses, no matter their tiered programs. That's all the academic courses, their social emotional, or social courses, social skills, yes, social emotional as well, life skills. That also is going to include all those live classes, clubs, that will include one-on-ones with the teacher. That also includes the materials, whatever that might be. It might be leveled books, it might be science kits, it might be well, ladybug prepositions or any number of things like that. So it's really whatever types of materials they need in order to be successful. We do offer multiple payment plans. So if you want, monthly payment plans equally, totally fine. Go over the whole course of the school year. So you can choose your payment plan that works best for your family. We're also happy to work out a plan, that would work for you if you see that, one of the ones listed doesn't work, but we have several that you can choose from, again, including, monthly over the full school year. If you are in Arizona, we do accept ESA and STO tax credits. For ESA, we're fully set up in ClassWallet. We can also accept the B of A debit cards if you have those, if you're one of the lucky ones that still has that. Otherwise, we're a ClassWallet vendor, so you'll get the invoice and upload it, and it's very easy and quick and painless. So any of that is absolutely accepted as well. In that case, you just receive the invoice rather than kind of paying in our normal payment system. We have about 60 kids that are on ESA, and they all upload their invoices without a hitch, never get returned. So absolutely can accept that as well. If you maybe have a sibling that is interested in ILA but is not looking for the FIRE program, the tuition actually is less because our FIRE tuition costs considerably more, but the curriculum costs considerably more than our otherwise, the curriculum we use otherwise, as well as the materials and everything. So our program that is not FIRE, you can see the curriculum, or I'm sorry, the cost here for tuition. Elementary is $5,000 a year, middle school is $5,200 a year, and high school is $5,400 a year. And likewise, that covers all of their courses, live instruction, and they also receive some materials, but that would just be any materials that are associated with the course. They're not receiving additional, additional materials like what we've, been discussing here today in some of these different ones, nor would they be receiving the social curriculum, social skills, life skills, that sort of thing. That's all specific to the FIRE Academy. If you would like to enroll, it's quite simple to start the process. Visit our website at ignitelearningacademy.com, and in the bottom right-hand corner, click Apply. From there, you can begin our online application process. You are able to leave and come back to it at any point in time, so you don't have to do it all in one sitting. It'll start with just some basic information, name, address, birth date, that sort of thing. Ultimately, it will ask you to upload a copy of your child's birth certificate and a guardian's photo ID. And then it will have you pay the enrollment fee. If you are on ESA or STO for Arizona families, just send us an email, let us know, and we will skip that step for now because we'll invoice it later so that you can go ahead and pay with either ESA or STO. So we'll have you covered on that one as well. We just pay later instead of during that exact step. And then later on in the summer, we will have them do a placement test if they're able, depends on their ability level. And that's about 20 minutes long. Again, if they're able to do so. If they're not, that's okay. We would select courses depending on ability level. If we're in kind of that tier level 1, then we know they're going to be in that. If they're at a higher level, then we'll talk about that as well. So this is all going to be a very individualized discussion. You meet your teacher. That teacher is going to call home, introduce herself or himself to you, their child. Then we'll also have meet the teacher night, so you can meet your new friends and the peers and everyone there as well. So we'll have a very exciting, as we get close to that first day of school, we'll get to have not only meet the teacher, one-on-one, but also in that classroom setting. So with that, here's a little bit of contact information. You can always reach us at info@ignitelearningacademy.com. That box is monitored by our leadership team. So if you ever want to get a hold of me or anyone here, we all monitor that box. We'll make sure we get the question to the right person. Or you can call our toll-free number or our local number. Both of those numbers get you to the same place, and we'd be happy to answer any questions. If you follow us on Facebook, we post lots of updates about our school and highlight our students so you can get an idea of our school culture and see what we've been up to these days. And of course, our web address is ignitelearningacademy.com. I know we're right at the top of the hour, so I just want to thank you so much for your time today. I will stick around. If you have any questions, I'll stop the recording, so any questions you ask, if they're personal in nature about your child, they won't be captured on the recording. But we would absolutely be honored to welcome you and your child to our school community. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to stick around, to email, or to call. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.